Well, it's already April, so this is a good time for me to sit down and go over the books I read in March. So in the past month, I read The Whole Brain Child, Get a Coach, Be a Coach, and The House in the Cerulean Sea, a novel. So the Whole Brain Child is a really good book on parenting, and it provides 12 strategies on how, as a parent, we help our children to regulate their emotions, how to understand those emotions, and basically just help them to utilize their brain in full potential. So me and my husband are new parents, so obviously we don't have much of experience raising a child, but we are determined to read as much as we can, gather resources, so that we help our children to grow up to be a confident and emotionally mature human being. So the concept of utilizing different sides of brain, emotional intelligence, and the whole brain approach were definitely a new concept to me, because growing up, we grew up in an environment that we were taught to toughen up, get up and dust yourself and move on. Those kind of environment. But our parents did their best with the tools they had at the time. But nowadays, there are a lot of different information, a lot of different resources. So it's our responsibility as a parent to learn these new concepts and teach our kids to help them and grow up to be an emotionally mature human being. Okay, so the thing I really liked about the book is that it provides a really simplified information about the different sides of brain, what are they responsible for, and how we learn those new concepts and teach our kids to also understand, those different parts, so that they know how to utilize their brain in different scenarios. The book got a little repetitive, and it really went in details and some of the concepts. But besides that, this is a wonderful book to read, totally new information, as I said. So I would totally recommend this book. So left brain is responsible for rational thinking and logical skills such as math and language development. It's linguistic, it loves orders. On the other hand, right brain regulates emotions and experiences. So the heartfelt sense and the gut feeling, they come from our right brain. But what does it mean, upstairs and downstairs brain? So the authors of the book explain these concepts by using an analogy of a two-story house. So the downstairs brain includes lower regions of the brain that are responsible for basic functions such as breathing, blinking, and impulses and emotions like anger and fear. On the other hand, upstairs brain is responsible for more complex mental processes like planning, decision-making, self-awareness, empathy, morality, and things like that. When a child's upstairs brain is functioning well, they are more likely to be able to think before they act, regulate emotions, and self-soothe, and potentially, learn to make better and good decisions when they grow up. My next book is The House in the Cerulean Sea. It's a novel written by T.J. Klune. This is a wonderful book. This is a perfect story about kindness, accepting each other no matter who you are, where you're from, what your past is, and just supporting each other no matter what. This is one of the books I will definitely be reading to my son when he grows up. Anyway, so the story is about these kids with magic. They live in a society that they don't get accepted as who they are. They are ostracized, and they live in orphanages, throughout the country. So the Kami department in charge of magical youth, a big organization, oversees those kids. They have hundreds of caseworkers who visit the orphanages and basically check on them. basically evaluate them whether they're doing a good job or being treated well. So there's one caseworker who gets a secret assignment to visit this island where there's an orphanage, contains like 7 really troubled children. I mean, those kids have been to many different places, and basically that orphanage is their final spot. So the guy's assignment was to basically evaluate the place and potentially shut down because of those kids. But when the guy visits the island, everything that he heard, everything that he read about those places was completely different than what he thought it would be. And the story takes up from there, and it's full of adventures, full of, this wonderful, lighthearted stories about those kids and their interactions with their owner and the guy. And yeah, I mean, it just ends up the story being like completely different. And I don't really want to ruin everything if you decide to read the story. But yeah, I would say this is one of the stories I really loved. And this whole time I was just thinking that there might be a dark turn, and somebody's gonna just jump out of nowhere, a bad guy gonna jump out of nowhere and just gonna ruin, the whole story. But it did not. It's just a beautiful story about how people should treat each other, regardless of their differences, regardless of their story is different than yours. So I would 100% recommend this book. My last book is Get a Coach, Be a Coach. I got this book last year, and at the time I was pretty determined and motivated to read this book, get all the advice, and find a coach. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Instead life happened. But this time I decided to grab this again and finish it up. So traditionally, I used to think that coaching is something like very serious. You have to find a coach, and you have to have this long conversation. Have to stick to that person for a long time. However, this book provides a really good information on how we can see the coaching field differently. So basically, once you figure out what you want to do, what's your goal, what do you want to achieve in life, you can find multiple people who can help you out in multiple fields. So basically, you find somebody that can help you, expertise, and have a 15 to 20 minute quick, brain picking conversation for, a short amount of time. That still can be considered coaching. So before getting into, finding somebody and asking questions and, getting advice, there's one thing we need to do beforehand, doing our homework. Meaning, we need to find out our MITs and ABCs. So MITs meaning most important thing. So what is the most important thing for you to achieve, or a certain skill or knowledge that you want to improve upon? Figure that out first. And ABCs means A, where you at right now, where do you want to be? B, and C, what you need to do in order to get to the place that you want to be. So once you figure those out, basically you have a pretty good layout about your current skills and the skills that you want to, get into, or the skills that you want to improve upon, and figure out what you want to be, right? So that's a pretty important concept to me to figure out beforehand. And once we figure that out, the next step is, of course, reaching out, asking people for their short amount of time. And there are really good advices on this. The most important thing, though, when we ask somebody for a question for a short amount of time to get their time, most of the time, people are actually pretty, willing to help you out. And if you have a skill and knowledge that you are good at, and you're willing to share, don't hesitate to share that knowledge and skill with others. Find the opportunities to serve others as well. So the book also provides a really good information on the ways you can share, your expertise with others as well. So all in all, this was a really productive read to me, and it really got me thinking what exactly my goal is and where I'm at right now, and most importantly, where do I want to be, and what do I need to do in order to get there. So it's all good.